Hey, how's it going? We are taking a look at demand of electricity increasing for many reasons, right? More people, as well as more equipment, more gadgets, as well as more cars and everything. If not right now, in the next 5 or 10 years, there's a demand for electricity will increase. With increasing demand, there might be new and exciting projects of how that electricity can be produced, and cost of electricity might go down, perhaps, or at least it should go down. Cost, since there might be more projects of that. Hopefully, since the current prices is up the roof, right? Within this video, I want to take a look. I have covered a number of those projects already where they're going to be taking a look at waves, wind. Now let's take a look at different project, completely different. I think this kind of project is very risky, but it's most powerful. We're taking a look at Akademik Lomonosov. Uh, that's the name of the nuclear powered, as well as yeah, I think it's a good definition. Nuclear power facility at the boat, so it could be operated at the shore, so anywhere. You can build those ships, and those ships can be parked anywhere. It could be different continents, right? It could be Europe, it could be Africa. So it's kind of exciting since this particular ship can power about 100,000 households. Well, I don't know how accurate it is and how demanding some of those challenges might be, but it's kind of interesting. If we're taking a look at the most risky project, that would be just because of everyone's opinion about nuclear, right? So it's perhaps very risky, but either way, let's delve a little bit deeper and try to understand this project. The Akademik Lomonosov refers to the Russian floating nuclear power station. It's named after Mikhail Lomonosov, a 18th century Russian scientist. Akademik Lomonosov is a unique project developed by State Atomic Energy Corporation Rosatom. So I have done a little bit of research and trying to understand this organization. It seems that this organization has everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. They have funding, engineering, materials, sourcing, everything. Then someone says how complex this kind of area when it comes to some of those projects is. It's very complex. It's very hard to do. I don't know if it's enough, if I can give enough credit of how hard it can be to manage some of those projects. It can be very hard. This particular this company is looking to source anything, so they have everything and they can source anything that you need. It's kind of people on board. I would like to have more of those kind of people on board. Where would be those people? That kind of people would be able to solve any problem basically. And if you yourself, you might be, I'll do a quick promo, I guess. So if you're looking to build a nuclear power station, right, in your country, and if your country is struggling with finance, they would source finance and very good rates. Because people just want to get busy, I guess, building those. So it's kind of interesting way how they're gonna do that. They can give you, at the time when I was looking at it, it was 6% interest rate. If this is what they have to offer, this kind of technology they have, do you know how many of those stations they can build in other developing countries like Africa, which is kind of struggling right now? Some of those areas where they potentially are struggling the most would be energy production. Would if they can offer 6% interest rate, and do you know how many of those they can build? Even better if they can build those on the boats and just ship them to any country. For whatever reason, if a country would decide not to pay those 6% interest rate, you can just take your asset and move to the next country, which is kind of interesting idea. It's kind of I with some of those videos I'm covering some of those windmills and everything. You cannot just pick those windmills and move to the next one. But you can the boat. You can do that with the boat. I'm not entirely sure who is managing all of the contracts, right? Since there's going to be a lot of it happens to be the world is undergoing a lot of changes when it comes to environment. So there's going to be a lot of icebreakers and everything what required of energy production as well as distribution of some of those other products, petrol products, and perhaps gases. All those ships going to be built. I'm not entirely sure who's going to be building all those ships, right? Perhaps there's a different company who can build those ships. So not necessarily this company, right? But there's going to be a number of those ships required to be built. So some of the people are going to be get very busy on how some of those ships going to be powered by perhaps by nuclear icebreakers. When it comes to transportation of goods using over the top, not necessarily. We are covering some of those canals, Suez Channel, where a lot of shipping is currently been done. But some of those countries can go through Arctic Circle and use that route with the global changes coming into effect, right? And they just need the icebreakers, and perhaps they can shift everything, and that could cut time of shipment required. Perhaps if it was 6 days, it would be 40 days, right? Which is kind of interesting idea, how they can do that, as well as some of those new projects and exciting projects, how they can build those nuclear power stations and boats. Station consists of two modified KLT 40S nuclear reactors, each with a capacity of 35 megawatts, mounted on a non-self-propelled barge. It was designed to provide electricity, heat, and distilled water to remote areas, including those in the Arctic region. The first unit of the Akademik Lomonosov was launched in 2019 and became operational in the Russian Arctic port town of Pevek in Chukotka in 2020. So there's perhaps a prototype, right? So everyone would start with those. I would consider the prototype. The ship itself perhaps is exactly the same ship. We just put this unit inside the ship, right? So prototype, and they see how this kind of boat will function, and I think it's a capacity about 100 households. So that town perhaps is a lot smaller. I don't know, like 20,000, if there is 20,000, right? But it's this ship is able to power it. That how many? So it's kind of interesting, some of the interesting projects, right? If anything, I would like to touch on perhaps if they not necessarily would need, some of those governments not necessarily would need nuclear power weapons, they can replace that with thorium as energy source. But I guess there's not that many friendly countries. Taking a look at how some of those countries are expending their budget, and so there's not necessarily that many countries are very friendly, right, when it comes to operations, right? Since that's happening, some of those countries would still need to have nuclear power weapons to protect themselves. So they not necessarily those countries can shift from nuclear into thorium to produce electricity and power. So there's some of those obstacles there, right? The project has generated discussions and debate over its safety, environmental impact, and the potential for nuclear accident. Critics have exposed concerns about the risk associated with floating nuclear power stations, particularly in ecologically sensitive areas. I think all areas, all areas, not necessarily. There's no particular area. All the areas should be a risk associated with all the areas. But I don't know. Even in testing, it should not necessarily do any testing with those kind of things, right? Proponents argue that such facilities can help provide a stable source of energy to remote regions with challenging logistical areas, as well as for traditional power infrastructure. So perhaps instead of building traditional power infrastructure, they can use those ships, I guess. But I don't know. There's new projects there, right? I have published a book, Rise Impact. There's going to be a number of series of books within this book. I have delved deeper and trying to explain what will be required and launching your first enterprise. That would be livestock enterprise, and I'm focusing on the first milestone. It's financial goal. There's different ways how you can measure success, but setting those goals would be important, in particular when operating as a business. First milestone would be moving from zero, perhaps if it's not something that you have done in the past, progressing to your first 10,000 euros, dollars, pounds, and how you can achieve this milestone. So with this book, apparently focusing on this particular area, how to begin and start setting up your business. I'm showing a lot of examples within the book. Hopefully, if anything, that will be one of those areas how you can reduce your time frame when it comes to learning as many things as everyone should, right? You can find this book and QR code in the corner, as well as company's website below. If taking a look at engineering challenges when it comes to building such a project, as well as then assessing risk, right, involved, and or so what challenges they're looking to address. So there's some remote regions which not potentially would have electricity, and if they would have electricity, those electricity can be or those regions can be powered by coal, right? So perhaps nuclear. That's one way to do it, as well as how to build access and grid and power those regions, right? And if it would work, perhaps down the line, nuclear can be replaced with thorium, but that would be a lot of pushback, in particular when it comes to politics and replacing perhaps nuclear power guns, and one of the reasons why whole thing got started in the first place. So it could be replaced with thorium, and perhaps then it'll be less risky, but there's some risk involved with everything. But again, it's down for discussion, I guess, and for another day. As an engineering project, I have covered a number of those. It's kind of exciting to see some of those projects there. If anyone wants to build something like that, I would highly recommend to try building something like that for yourself and see how hard it can be. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.